What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Sal, and today we're going to get into a little bit about how Ape Herf came about. But if we're going to do it, let's do it the right way, and let's do it with the EPC Carrillo La Historia. Let's get into it. What's going on, y'all, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're getting a little bit into just how Ape Herf came about and how I kind of ended up in this little space on YouTube. So one, we're gonna have to take it back just a little bit and get a little bit of history on, because I just didn't pop up and show up out the jungle, you know what I'm saying? Or did I? But it all way back when. First cigar for me was actually the first cigar for me was actually a Padron 1964 back in 2013. Me and the wife decided we wanted to do something with some friends. Shot down to Vegas. New Year's Eve, celebrating with some friends. Just kind of walking down the strip, popped in at any local shop. I don't remember what it was. It was a while ago. But we said, hey, it's New Year's Eve, at the stroke of midnight. We're with our best friends at the time, and we just kind of want to celebrate. First time ever having a cigar. Of course, what they do, they pointed us in the direction of Padron. I knew nothing, you know. So we bought the Padrones. Rang in the new year, walked from the Vegas Strip down to, we were staying at the Orleans. If you don't know where that is, it's a bit of a hike. Getting an Uber on New Year's Eve in Las Vegas, it just ain't happening. And we're dressed up, the girls are dressed up, can't get an Uber, you can't get a taxi, so we hoof it. Man, made a pit stop at In-N-Out, grabbed ourselves something, got back to the hotel, we ate, went out to the balcony and fired it up. Do I remember what that cigar tasted like? No. But what I do remember is that time. That memory of my first cigar in the setting that it was in with the people that we were with. And I think that is something a lot of us can relate to. Especially when we enjoy a cigar, we're reminded of that memory. I know a lot of you have that. Now, before I continue on, again, this is a cigar review. So this is in the E-III format. It's a 6/7/8 by, I want to say 54 or 52, one of the two. Right off first light, you get a little bit of pepper, you get a little bit of earthiness, you get some dark cocoa, some dark coffee. It's really, really quite pleasant. The aromatics are great. Great smoke output. Easy burn. I did dry box it, 72 hours. I believe the foot was 59 and the cap was somewhere around 61, 62. That's ideal for me. I don't think you can get any better than that. But anyways. Ash is looking great already. Check that out. But yeah, so continuing on, this may be a longer video. I'm gonna put that up front before I even dive into it. Beautiful on the retro, baby. On the retro, kind of dark notes, a little bit of white pepper. I would chalk it up to a little bit of earthiness. It's got a little bit of a sweet tone to it, but can't quite pinpoint it just yet. It's still warming up. We're gonna let that cook. But anyways, so fast forward to 2015, me and my wife decided we're gonna take a trip. Where was that trip? Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. Now, again, from 2013, I don't think I smoked anything. That was just a celebration thing. Fast forward to 2015, we knew going out there that we wanted to do the excursions. And I believe one of the excursions we booked was a cigar factory tour. I know, touristy AF. Can I say that? I don't know. I might change my language later on. But touristy as hell. So, we up on the bus. You go down. It happened to be a small proprietary cigar factory, I believe. Man, I think its name was Don Lucas. They're not sold. I believe they're proprietary. I don't know. You can only get them a certain way. And again, this is just kind of me just, hey, I want to get into this. Something I'm looking to enjoy. So we did the factory tour. We saw the hand rollers. They took us to the shop. Super, super cool experience. I'm glad I got to see that. I would love to see it in a much bigger factory and a more well-known factory now that I'm in the space that I'm in. But for the time frame where I was at, it worked. It was a cigar factory. Then I believe it was like the next house over, it was rum. And then the next house after that was actually chocolate, which was great for the wife. So it was kind of a, 1, 2, 3. And at the end, they had a big humidor room. Of course, they had their own cigars. What was cool is they had some fresh rolled ones. I was able to fire one up. I think I was the only volunteer out of the group that we were with. They were like, who wants to enjoy it? And I was like, I'll try it. And I believe it was like a medium full. I don't remember what the series was, but I remember it was decent. If I think back now, I wasn't off put by it, and I brought home a box, so couldn't have been that bad. The trip to Dominican was awesome. Minus the damn humidity that was there. It was a great trip. Had a good time. Lots of some crazy memories. Maybe I'll share them at a later date with y'all as we get into it. If you guys enjoy, this kind of format where I do a little bit of, storytelling. Cool. But let's fast forward. Trip home. I have a box of Don Lucas cigars that I brought home from the Dominican Republic. I remember them being a certain series, and I specifically remember them being a medium full. And again, at that time, I didn't know mild, medium, and full. I was just like, hey, it tastes good to me. Let me bring home a box. I believe I brought home a box of 20 at that time. They weren't Cubans. Nor did I buy any Cubans. I know there's a tourist trap when people try to sell you some Cubans. But again, I knew nothing about this world. I knew of the Cuban culture and Cuban cigars, but I didn't go out there looking, I'm going to bring home some Cubans. I'm just going to put them in a different box. And I wasn't messing with that. No. Went in, enjoyed some Dominican cigars, took the tour, brought some home. All right, that's covered. So then I'm home. I've got my own little, box. And, we had Google at that time. I believe Google was around. Maybe it was Yahoo search bar. One of the two. But I knew, hey, I've got to buy a humidor. Where do I find it? So I just searched my local cigar local cigar shops around the area. And at that time, there were quite a few. So I went to something local that I did. Went in. Owner was super nice. Walked in, told him, hey, just got back from the Dominican. I brought home some cigars. I don't want my money to go to waste. How do I take care of them? And he educated me. I believe I got the first humidor that everybody got. Cherry wood, glass top, probably hold about 50. You know which one I'm talking about. It's probably like $50 right now online. I definitely think I got overcharged. I think I paid more than that. He seasoned it. I came back about a week later, picked it up. I had everything. Got the hygrometer. We were cooking. I believe at that time I was going with that 70-70 rule that we all started out with. And again, this is about 2015 going into 2016. And I threw the cigars that I purchased in there. And from there, I would smoke one here and there. It was kind of my way of taking a break from the work life, and no kids at that time, but I was enjoying them so much that I actually was like, okay, local lounge, let me go back there. Went down to the local lounge, mingled. It was definitely an older crowd being in the lounge, but very accepting, just chopping it up, life talk, cigar talk, educating me a little bit. Then I started venturing out. Then I got introduced to other manufacturers of the I guess you would say the New World Cubans, the AJ Fernandez's, Romeo y Julietas, Camachos. Don't be hating. You all know you've had one. They're not bad. And I think Oliva. They actually took the time. And again, these were older gentlemen, well-seasoned cigar smokers. They definitely didn't try to take me for my money, which was cool. I liked that. I enjoyed it. And it was just kind of a luxury thing. I go to work, say, hey, I'm gonna stop at the lounge, whatever. Now, was I as involved into the cigar like I am now? Getting better, building the palate, trying to pick out little tasting notes here and there so I can share with y'all on what I'm tasting and maybe what you may be tasting and how you can kind of, bounce that and like, hey, this sounds pretty good. I think I'm gonna pick that up. Or, it doesn't kind of sound on my alley. Maybe I'll put it on the list as a maybe. I'm gonna take a break. We are here with the Ape Carrillo. Burning nice. Definitely as it's warmed up, the pepper has subsided. It's very minimal, real rich on the dark cocoa, dark coffee, and there's a sweetness there. It's nice. It's pleasant. Now, I don't think I've gotten the makeup of the cigar, so let's go over that right now. Let's take a little break from this story. Mexican San Andres wrapper, Ecuadorian Sumatra binder over Nicaraguan fillers. And it's nice. It's pleasant. There's a sweetness. It's well balanced. I can see why they would call this a story. As we get into our story, it's the perfect cigar to tell a story. Of course, now I have gotten a little bit deeper into the cigar culture. I want to know about Ape Carrillo. I want to know about the blendings. I want to know, as far as when they represent the brand, it's his daughter going out and telling the stories. And the fact that on this band, it was actually developed by the brother, and he was asked to kind of just come up with something, and actually a painter developed the band. How did I find that out? Google. And that's dope. That's dope. And I'm glad I'm where I'm at, because I'm diving deeper into the culture. At the end of the day, you either like the cigar or you don't. It may be for you right now. It may not be for you right now. Maybe later on, as like me, as you develop palate and you try all these different brands and different wrappers and different strengths, you kind of start picking and choosing like, hey, I'm gravitating towards this. I'm gravitating towards that. If you go back to some of my earlier videos, I was like, hey, I gravitate towards Maduros. Now, I love me a good Mexican San Andres. I love me a Connecticut, a great Corojo. It's developing that palate, and depending on where I'm at and how I'm feeling, I can kind of go and grab something that's going to fit that moment. I digress. How did Ape Herf come about? 2022, picked up, moved the family in over here in the DFW. Prior to that, I was living in California, and while smoking cigars was cool, it was my thing. I got into somewhat of the automotive industry. My brother-in-law's always been in the automotive industry. He's always been to car customization. That's been his thing. And off-roading, 4x4ing on, approved territory and not so much approved territory. But for a long period, that's what I was doing. Built my truck, lift kit, big tires. Before even that, I toured as a musician. So that little piece, that's a story for another day. But fast forward to the DFW, the truck scene, the 4x4 scene was just much too different out here. It's definitely more spread out. And while still enjoying cigars, it was kind of a back burner hobby for me. And, as much as I tried to stay in the off-road world and the 4x4 world and connect here, met some cool people, but it just didn't gain any traction. It was just kind of a lull period. was part of a pretty big off-road group. Shout out to SoCal Built, who's still out there. The thought process of starting to vlog our off-road journeys with our off-road group came about. It just never came to fruition. We had the ideas, we filmed little snippets, but nothing ever got put together. And I was talking with my wife, and I was like, hey, as I started researching and wanting to get more and more into the cigar culture, I've noticed there definitely wasn't a shortage of cigar content, but I felt like there was room to swim amongst the others. Now, for those that have watched live streams or have seen probably one of your reviewers, DJ from the Pick Jimmy channel, we bought our house, and lo and behold, we end up buying, right next door to DJ Pick Jimmy. And, we actually, our wives bonded first. Our wives bonded, and my wife mentioned that I smoke cigars, and they're like, oh, hey, Sal smokes cigars. That was the connecting point for me and DJ. It is the first time I learned of what a, gifting cigars was, or as the culture calls it, cigar bombing. And if you watch my humidor tour, I thanked him a bunch, because I went from a manageable humidor to buying his secondhand humidor and then filling that thing up. And it's kind of led me to where I'm at today, here with y'all. And how the name Ape Herf came about was, my truck was I always called my truck the gorilla. I always used the gorilla emoji that Apple had. It was just my thing. I wanted to keep that going because it's a small part of me that I loved doing so much, and I kind of wanted to carry that into the cigar world. Now, the encouragement to start a channel came from my wife, and then I've got a double confirmation from Jimmy, who was just like, dude, just do it. Why not? Like, you teeter-totter around, I don't have the equipment, I don't have this and that, because you watch your favorite reviewers and they look great, they got all this cool shit going on. You don't need any of that. Just start, and who knows where it goes, because it's your story, it's your journey. You'll find your niche, you'll find what you do. I feel like it's such a big space. I feel like there's room for everybody to swim, but everybody's kind of a little bit different. As we get into the second third, we are here. It did go on ahead and ash on my foot, but however, this La Historia, so far, solid. As far as the flavor notes, the sweetness is kind of taking a little bit of a backseat. I can't quite pinpoint it. I'm gonna go ahead and call it, it's more of a, I'm gonna go with like a chocolatey sweetness, maybe like a darker version of a Hershey syrup a little bit. Not super sweet, but enough to round out everything. You still got great notes of earth, coffee. I want to say there's a little bit of woodiness in there, but it's not super heavy. Maybe a tad bit of leather, but that leather is complementing everything out there. So far, the La Historia is doing me great. As we continue on this journey, as I talk your ear off. First and foremost, I'm a husband. First and foremost, I'm a father of 2 girls, and I've got a crazy work schedule. I enjoy this. Like, shooting these is fun for me. It's my me time. I'm sharing my experience because I want to share it. There's so many others like me that want to be in the cigar space, but I want to be able to share, like, hey, you can walk into your local B&M, you can walk into your local big box store, cigar store, and pick up an EP Carrillo and not break your bank and not break your wallet. I've always been one for the underdogs. Always. That's maybe because I played sports all my life, but I've always one with the underdogs. If you're hardcore genre music, And you know, one with the underdogs, if you can point out that band in the comments, let me know, because that'd be dope. I don't know if a lot of people get that. That'd be super dope if you do. Anyways, there's so many in this space that are looking to get into cigar culture, and from what I'm able to gather, there's been a bit of a shift. I talked about me walking into my local B&M and well-seasoned older gentlemen just educating you and not trying to point you to like, hey, there's a $30 cigar that's going to be the best cigar you're going to smoke, and there's this Opus X that you've got it. Like, on my journey, would I love to smoke an Open X? Hell yeah. And I'll get there. Eventually I'll get there. I'll walk in and like, that one, let me get that one. But I'm not there yet. There's a space. There's a space for guys like me who want to walk into their local B&M shots, or a guy like me wants to walk into my local B&M and say, hey, I saw Ape Herf review this. It sounded like mine. Let me go ahead and get that, and not worry that, bam, you know, maybe I won't go to dinner this day. Or maybe I can't buy dinner this day. Because I want to cover the gambit of everything. You know, I want to cover your ultra premiums. I want to cover your premiums. I want to cover your everyday budget sticks. That's what we're here for. I'll go out and I'll buy the $3, $7, $12, $16. I haven't spent $20 on a cigar just yet. But eventually, if I'm smoking one that's in that price range, more than likely, it came from cigar surplus that I have availability to. But along with that, I wanted to share my journey. I wanted to document my journey in building my palate, because I know there's probably a whole lot of other people like me getting into it, and it doesn't have to be that difficult. I'm learning to pick up these tasting notes, but you'll notice that I can't quite pinpoint, hey, this is this type of wood, this is the smoked version of this wood. I can pick up the general idea basis, which is going to appeal to most of y'all. But let's be honest, at the end of the day, you either like it or you don't. Hey, this was a good cigar, or this was a good half cigar. I really didn't like that back half. I didn't like that final third, which, you know, a lot of these cigars tend to fall out around that, you know, end of second third into final third. And that's okay. You know, so many variations could tie into that. But for me and you, at the end of the day, no matter how many notes I pick, is it good or is it not? You'll notice that I don't have like a rating system like a lot of these other channels do. Because if I find it great, I hope you find it great. Or if I don't find it not so great and you do, that's cool. That's what makes us different. Your palate's there, mine might not be there just yet. We are here on the EP Carrillo La Historia. I've removed the La Historia band to kind of not burn it. Great burn line, great flavors. Enjoying this as I kind of talk to you guys. I've got no format, so if this video kind of seems like, man, this dude's all over the place, I promise it's okay. This is probably the first one that I've kind of done like conversation style. I'm not gonna lie, and I kind of dig it. And hopefully y'all dig it too. And hopefully, you know, some way, shape, or form, it's my own format. I know there's a lot of other reviewers that kind of do it. I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I picked up the camera. I'm glad I threw a lens. I'm glad I bought a mic. And I'm glad I decided to just hit record. Because I had no idea that this would come about. In the time that I started the channel, I had no idea. No idea if anyone was going to like what I was doing. Had no idea if people were going to gravitate. Damn, I'm glad I did it. I'm going to take this band off. Because it's fun. It's enjoyable for me to share a story, to share a cigar, to share what I'm tasting with y'all, and even compare and contrast. Hey, This is what I got. Y'all drop your comments and say, got the same thing, didn't quite get this, or that just sounds good, I need to pick one up. Like, that feels good to share this experience and to encourage you, like, hey, when you see this on the shelf, it's an approachable cigar. Because that's the experience that I had. That experience of kind of being brought in with open arms and just kind of just under a wing, everybody should have. You should never be judged on what you're smoking. You know, never talk shit on what you're smoking because you like what you like. There's so much space in this culture. And if those experiences are with me and my channel and, you know, my conversation with you, awesome. Awesome. Because I'm going to put more out there. Maybe we'll cover different topics. Maybe we'll just cover a topic that I'm just having in that day. Who knows? Maybe I had a crap week. And I want to sit down, pull a cigar out of the humidor and share that with you. And just completely flip it around. But like I mentioned on this channel, we're trying to try everything. Good, bad, the ugly. Do I have some solid ones that I know for sure I'll keep gravitating back to? For sure. But there's so many other flavors out there. Tons. And I don't think I'll ever get to them all. There's no way anybody can ever get to them all. I think the dope thing is that if I can be that kind of middle channel where you've just kind of been teeter-tottering, you've kind of passed it up in the humidor, or you've only just heard about it, if I can kind of be that middle channel and kind of like, this was good, might want to grab one, maybe a $5. I can be that middle point for you. Dope. Because I've just connected you with something that you're going to enjoy. Maybe I'm connecting you with something you're going to enjoy at a certain memory. If I was the middle channel for you on why you got that and you got a memory out of it, or maybe you're just kicking back on a hard day. Dope. I love to see people win. I chalk it up to sports, being that team player. I'll pump you up all day long. You just gotta try. I did. Seem to be doing okay. You know, do I got goals for this channel? Hell yeah. Let's build up the subscribers. Let's build up the community. Let's spread the word. Like, hey, have you watched this dude? Have you watched this dude? And I love the fact that in this space, there are other channels that promote growing channels. There's no sense in gatekeeping. For what? Something everybody can enjoy. As long as you're 21. As long as you're 21, you can enjoy this. This little guy. If I can be this small 0.001 in this community and help y'all out, great. We're burning down on this one. We're about here. This may be one of the longest videos I put out just because I'm talking. I'm glad I've met who I've met so far. And I look forward to meeting a lot more of you and interacting with a lot more of you. Again, you know, there's the YouTube. I've got the Instagram. I'm glad I'm doing what I'm doing. I know there was a lot, but I felt it on me to kind of just put it out there. Like, who is Ape Herf? Like, who is Sal, aka Ape Herf, that's, you know, new to this space? And all I can say from the bottom of my heart is thank each and every one of you that has liked, commented, or subscribed on this channel. Because it grew faster than I ever would have thought. I went into it with the mindset that I'm going to share this story, whether it's 0 subscribers or, you know, 150 subscribers. I'm not exactly sure where I'm at. But I was going to do it. And for those that have jumped on the train and joined the Herf, man, I appreciate y'all 100%. And if we burn down the final third, that's me. That's Sal, aka Ape Herf. I hope you rock with it. I hope you vibe with it. I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy what we're doing here on the channel. If you like what we're doing, like, comment, subscribe, share the channel. Let them know the ape's coming. Join the Herf. There'll be plenty more to come. Cigar Quickies is still sticking around. We may change the format on it, but in the meantime, I'm still going to get those out to you. Reviews are always coming. I've got quite a few coming your way on some other sticks that I was able to get in there. And just thank y'all from the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of Ape Herf's heart. Thank y'all for joining. And like I always say, stay blessed. Man, shit. Totally forgot. Yeah. Final third. Talking so much, talking with y'all. Totally forgot to give the update on the final third. Yeah, from the second to the final third, that sweetness has come back around. It's kicked back in. The flavors are well rounded. There's white pepper all throughout. I would say final third, it kind of reintroduces itself. It's nice. It's on the retro. It's a sweet earthiness at this point. There's still that coffee note. There's the cocoa note. There's that subtle hint of, real subtle, of some woodiness. Again, I don't know if it's a cedar, I don't know if it's oak. Definitely know it's a wood. But it's nice. The EP Carrillo La Historia. Solid cigar. Definitely won't be my last. Pick one up. Maybe two. Tell a story. I enjoyed the time telling my story, La Historia story. I feel like it was a perfect cigar for this one. I turned off the camera and I remembered shit. I never gave him a final third. Final third, solid cigar, great notes. Won't be my last. Stay blessed, y'all.